Ralph Waldo Emerson, May 25, 1803 to April 27, 1882, was once an American essayist, lecturer, and poet, who used to be a main determinant of the Transcendentalist motion of the mid-19th century. He was once viewed as a champion of individualism, liberty and freedom of thought. He used to be a prolific essayist and speaker, giving over 1,500 public lectures in the U.S. Nicknamed the Sage of Concord, he grew to become the main mental determinant of the United States. Early life. Ralph Waldo Emerson was once born in Boston in 1803, the son of a Unitarian minister. His father died when he used to be younger, 8 years old, and he had to guide his training via doing part-time jobs. In October 1817, he went to Harvard, the place he served as type poet. However, he didn't stand out as a scholar, graduating in the center of his class. After graduation, he went to Florida, looking for hotter climates for his refined health. Emerson labored as a schoolmaster and later as a pastor in Boston's Second Church. However, he regularly moved away from the spiritual and social beliefs of his contemporaries, formulating and expressing the philosophy of Transcendentalism in his 1836 essay, Nature. Following this groundbreaking work, he gave a speech entitled The American Scholar in 1837, which Oliver Wendell Holmes Sr. regarded to be America's intellectual declaration of independence. We will stroll on our very own feet. We will work with our very own hands. We will talk our very own minds. The learn about of letters shall be no longer identify for pity, for doubt, and for sensual indulgence. The dread of man and the love of man shall be a wall of defense and a wreath of pleasure round all. A state of guise will for the first time exist, due to the fact every believes himself stimulated with the aid of the divine soul, which additionally conjures up all men. Emerson, the American scholar. When he was once simply 18, Emerson married Ellen Louisa Tucker. However, she tragically died simply 2 years later, an tournament which shook the younger Emerson. Around this time, he grew to become greater unsure over the spiritual beliefs of the church he labored as a pastor. He used to be unhappy with the communion and the technique of worship. To Emerson, it appeared too dry. Several years later, in 1838, he was once invited to Harvard Divinity School, the place he gave a well-known tackle claiming that early Christianity had deified Christ, and as a result, he discounted the miracles in the Bible, a comparable strategy to the Jefferson Bible. This radical method was once closely criticized via individuals of the establishment. Emerson wrote most of his vital essays as lectures first, then revised them for print. His first two collections of essays, First Series and Essays, Second Series, posted respectively in 1841 and 1844, signify the core of his thinking, and encompass such frequent essays as Self-Reliance, The Over-Soul, Circles, The Poet and Experience. Together with Nature, these essays made the decade from the mid-1830s to the mid-1840s Emerson's most fertile period. Emerson noticed the intention of existence for man to recognize his internal divinity. The reason of existence appears to be to acquaint a man with himself. He is no longer to stay the future as described to him, but to stay the actual future to the actual present. The very best revelation is that God is in each man. Emerson, Journals. Emerson additionally used to be instrumental in encouraging different American writers. Walt Whitman dispatched his modern poetry, Leaves of Grass, to Emerson. Emerson wrote a glowing 5-page overview, and this was once influential in supporting Whitman's career. He used to be additionally very shut to Henry David Thoreau. He viewed Thoreau to be his nice friend. Emerson used to be an influential determine in the motion of Transcendentalism. Evolving out of European Romanticism, it was once a philosophy which developed its personal outlook, which mixed each mysticism with a trust in rationality and scientific outlook. Emerson used to be firmly towards slavery. After 1844, no matter disliking being in the public limelight, he grew to become extra concerned in the anti-slavery movement. In 1859, he gave a speech praising the fiery abolitionist John Brown. The South calls slavery an institution. I name it destitution. Emancipation is the demand of civilization. Emerson, January 31, 1862. He supported Abraham Lincoln in the 1860 election and expressed disappointment when the civil hostilities regarded to be about retaining the Union alternatively than the abolition of slavery. However, on Assembly Lincoln in 1862, Emerson warmed to Lincoln, and after his assassination, Emerson gave a heat tribute to his liked president. Religious views of Emerson's non-secular beliefs evolved. His early Christianity used to be too limiting. He was once non-conformist and sought out non-secular that means from his personal ride and a wide range of non-secular sources. Reading the top-notch Indian scriptures, he used to be tremendously moved and felt that they hinted at the actual which means of religion. I owed a spectacular day to the Bhagavad Gita. It used to be the first of books. It used to be as if an empire spoke to us, nothing small or unworthy, however large, serene, consistent, the voice of an ancient genius which in every other age and local weather had contemplated and for this reason disposed of the identical questions which exercising us. Emerson, Journals, 1822–1863. Similar to the deism of the American Founding Fathers, Emerson additionally noticed nature as an effective way to apprehend the dwelling God. Standing on the naked ground, my head bathed by way of the blithe air, and uplifted into limitless space, all suggest egotism vanishes. I emerge as an obvious eyeball. I am nothing. I see all the currents of the universal being flow into through me. I am section or particle of God. Emerson. Nature, 1836. Towards the give-up of his life, his reminiscence started out to fail him, and he retreated from public life, concentrating on writing poetry. In April 1882, Emerson was once discovered to be struggling from pneumonia, and he died quickly after.